All right, so you'll write this in the same spot where we had our lecture, the last one, so on the page where it says Mr. Wood's lecture. If you don't have enough space, you may write this down on a separate piece of paper if there's not enough space. So the title of this slide is, How Did Islam Spread? How did Islam spread? From the video, you saw that Islam was a way of unifying people that wasn't done in Arabia, where Muhammad was from. It brought people who were rich, people who were poor together. They were no longer united by their tribe or their group, nomadic group they were living with. They were united by their faith and their religion. So what happens is, the people of Mecca who are polytheistic aren't very happy about this. They see Muhammad as a problem. He's speaking out against polytheism. Many people in Mecca are making a lot of money by making idols of the gods. They're making idols of all these gods and they're selling them. They don't like Muhammad. They want him dead. So they go basically to kill him. Muhammad goes to another city called Medina, M-E-D-I-N-A, Medina. There he's able to get more followers. He's actually been able to build an army to defend himself and his people. And they're able to defeat the people of Mecca. Yep, they smash the idols. And that is the center of Mecca where people go for their Hajj today. And that's seen as a victory for God, or victory for Allah. That's why it's such an important place, Mecca. Now, what happens is, Muhammad takes over Mecca, but he dies, and he passes his leadership on to the caliphs. They get passed on to the caliphs, caliphates, basically like the kings or kingdoms. It's kind of similar to that. And they spread throughout Arabia, and they become the dominant power in this region. And then incredibly, they spread throughout North Africa too. And Islam spreads really fast. Muhammad gets his first message from the angel Gabriel in the year 610. By 670, Muslims have control of North Africa and Arabia. That's 60 years, that's pretty fast. How does that happen? You first have the Umayyad Caliphate, which is the leaders who follow after Muhammad, and they spread the religion, and they spread the government is based on the religion. And they have a professional army, where many other people in this area do not. Islam goes into North Africa just 7 years after Muhammad dies. So in 639, Islam enters into North Africa. They do have 4,000 professionally trained troops. And it wasn't their first time in Africa, though. They had been there before because the Muslims were very good at one thing that helps them advance. Besides being military, being organized, they're really, really good at trade, which you're going to read about tonight. Why are they good at trade? Why is their religion so pro-trade? One reason can be, what was Muhammad's job?
Merchant.
He was a merchant. And many of the Muslims were nomadic people who are used to trading goods back and forth. So what happens is, as Muslims enter with an army, they also enter with a lot of knowledge, goods, and technology from other parts of the world. And what happens is, the Muslims are really good at running a government. Why is that? They're pretty educated. They read the Quran, so they're pretty well read. They have access to a lot of other parts of the world. They have access to a lot of trade. They become pretty educated with all this knowledge from different goods. So a lot of the Muslims start rising to positions of power. And many people start converting to Islam. Do some convert because they're strong and have a military? Yeah. But many convert because they either like the religion, they can be more equal. But another really big reason is Islam is the religion of trade. it's kind of a way to get more goods, to become richer. And if you want to trade with the Muslims, it's easier to be a Muslim. The language of trade in this time becomes Arabic. Arabic's the language. Arabic's the language. So Arabic becomes the trade language. And I'll show you, the Umayyad, they spread from 661 to 750, the first caliphate, and they take over Spain. And the Umayyad actually stay in Spain. And they're in Spain until about the 1400s. You go to a southern city called Cordoba in Spain, and there is a cathedral called the Cathedral of Cordoba. It used to be a mosque. And the funny thing that happens is it also becomes pretty much the most advanced place in Europe at that time, with goods, technology, much more than the rest of Europe after the Roman Empire falls. So, the Abbasid Caliphate follows after that. There's again a king, a religious leader that keeps on moving. They have a professional military. They stay very strong, especially through trade. And we have something called Dar al-Islam. Dar al-Islam is not an actual empire. It's a name of the area. Quick, lights, please. The name of the area where Islam spreads. It's not all one empire, but it is a very strong trade network. Let me show you something. Right here, we have the Silk Road. Here we have the Silk Road. Dar al-Islam is connected to that. So China and the Muslims are trading. Here we have the Indian Ocean trade route. Many Muslims speaking Arabic established trade ports in this area. We have the Trans-Saharan trade network that we read about. Muslims are trading there, and people in West Africa start converting to Islam as well because of the trade that happens. They're in a very good central location right here. They're connected to the trade routes, and Islam actually spreads more with trade than it does with military victories. So in the Islamic Dar al-Islam, you see silk. You see gold. That's being traded there. You see all the other goods that come from this part of Asia, the Indian Ocean region, and West Africa. Like the gold salt trade that's going on here, for example. It's mostly Muslims who are doing that. And as we learn in history, the people who are trading the most are usually getting the richest and the most advanced. It also advances their education. Algebra becomes much more advanced. Architecture, reading, map making. So we talked about the Mongols. The Mongols become pretty advanced with trade. Well, so do the Muslims. And they advance their technology. Ship making, because the Indian Ocean trade route advances. Compasses, other technology advances as well. Now, if you didn't want to be a Muslim, what would they do? They make you pay a tax.
Oh,
Which doesn't seem like, oh, you pay tax, okay, whatever. But it was actually really smart to do that. Because many people in Egypt, for example, stay Christians, but they have to pay a tax. What happens to the Islamic Empire, the Caliphate here? They get richer because of those taxes. Muslims are also taxing a lot of the trade that happens, which makes these caliphates become even stronger. They advance, what's the biggest reason with? Trade. All right, I will stop the lecture there.